What is the role of the guidance counselor in DoDEA Schools? What does a comprehensive school guidance program look like? National expert in school counseling, Dr. Pat Nailor, will answer these questions and more coming up in this edition of The Chat Room. Welcome to The Chat Room. I'm your host, Frank O'Gara. Recently, The Chat Room went on location to the DoDEA Elementary Counseling Conference held in Peachtree City, Georgia. There I had the opportunity to sit down with Dr. Pat Nailor from the American School Counselor Association. Dr. Nailor is a recognized expert on comprehensive school counseling programs. Dr. Nailor spoke with me about her work with DoDEA educators and issues ranging from at-risk students to the role of the counselor in school crisis management. Welcome to the chat room, Dr. Nailor.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Counseling, guidance and counseling programs, a very important topic for us in DoDEA, and I think very often a misunderstood topic. There's a lot of confusion sometimes about what a guidance or counseling program is in a school. It means different things to different people. What is a competency-based guidance program?
A competency-based counseling program is K-12 program that teaches students the knowledge, the skills, the attitudes that they need to be successful in school and in life. The lessons are taught at developmentally appropriate ages, to teach kids to scaffold their learning.
Now, obviously, there are differences between elementary school programs and high school programs. But you've been working with, you've had an opportunity to work with our counselors on the elementary side of the house. So what would a comprehensive school counseling guidance program look like in an elementary school?
It's not going to look all that different from a high school, except that high school counselors do some different things than counselors at the elementary level. At the elementary level, the focus really is on instruction. They do a lot less record keeping and a lot more of teaching. So they're in the classrooms, they're teaching students the skills and knowledge, the attitudes and behaviors that are going to help them be successful. So they may be teaching them lessons on learning how to study and respecting themselves and others, teaching them things about, so we teach in 3 domains, the academic domain, the personal social domain, and the career development domain. So at the elementary level, it's more career awareness. The academic is really understanding that your job is school, and it's important, and the different things that help them. And sometimes the focus is really more on teaching them the skills to be attentive, and helping them be successful in school. So sometimes it's more of the personal things that we're teaching them. It depends on the kids, but we are a data-driven program, so we look at the needs of the students, and that tells us what it is that we need to teach them. And
is there an actual curriculum then that our counselors use?
Yes, in fact, they're working on developing it. They have their curriculum, they're working on documenting it, actually. And that's one of the things that I was working with them on, is documenting the curriculum, which is something that's happening. We're actually refocusing school counseling nationally, and the focus is more on developing a program that is documented so that it's standards-based. You may have heard of the ASCA national model. That is the best thinking in counseling right now, and it's ASCA has made it available to all school counselors. The DoDEA has bought it for the school counselors at all of the levels. So it's really based on a foundational piece of understanding how they tie into the mission of the school, what their beliefs are for all children, and then developing a program, managing the program, and being held accountable for it. And the delivery piece is really about delivering curriculum, teaching students about individual student planning, how to plan for their future and their future success. Responsive services, so when students have a need or an issue or a family does, then we are there to help deal with that. And then the system support piece is where we do what we need to do to make sure the school is successful. At the high school and middle school, a lot of that is around helping students with their scheduling and so forth. But at the elementary school, it's more community, the educational community making it.
So there are many roles, and I think for parents, for some parents, most frequently, the role that they are first introduced to the counselor in maybe a crisis kind of situation. But we know that counselors have lots of other different roles. Do you want to expand on some of those roles for us?
Sure. There are a number of roles. Teaching the students, obviously. As part of a crisis team, we as school counselors in our education in the program, the training programs to become school counselors. Generally, it's a master's program to become a school counselor. We have a set of skills that can help us. We do have some mental health training. We do have facilitating training. We learn about group and group process. So we can be utilized in the school in a number of different ways. We can help to manage the meetings that go on and facilitate meetings between teachers and parents and administrators, and sometimes we do that, and sometimes as part of the special ed team we manage and help with those kinds of teams, with the 504 kinds of teams. There's lots of facilitating that goes on. When you think about the role of a counselor, the school counselor stands at a juncture between school and home and community. We are the person that seems to see all of that. We hear what's happening with teachers and administrators. We hear what's happening with the child and the family. We hear what's happening in the community. So it's good for us to be able to help to facilitate conversations in that way.
Yeah, their role is really indispensable in
I think so.
school. Okay. You mentioned earlier data and data-driven decisions, and those are very important to us in the process of continuous improvement. Accountability is a very big issue with us. In the last 3 years, when we've conducted our customer satisfaction survey, school counseling is one of the areas that parents have been concerned about, that think that there is a need for us to make some improvements in. In your work with our counselors so far, what have you seen? What's going well? Okay, and where do we need to make some improvements on to change those results that we've gotten in the past?
One of the things that there's a shift in school counseling. We have changed our direction in that we are more a part of the educational reform. We sit at the table now. We are one of the experts in the building that can help to make decisions around that. So school counselors are stepping up to the plate more to be leaders and advocates for systemic change when we see that need. So we are the voice for the child and the voice for underrepresented children, or whatever issue seems to have to come in. The accountability piece is, we believe that if we are truly doing, I believe that if we are truly doing the job that as I'm describing it, and I think most counselors are, then we are really getting up in the morning with the idea that we're going to help kids. And we are going into our program with the best knowledge we have from our profession. So we're doing what we believe the profession says is what needs to be done. We're determining exactly what we're implementing based on data around our own students. We're implementing interventions or teaching lessons to help students get to where they need to go based on the data that we have, and we're holding ourselves accountable by collecting that data and reviewing it and determining, did we really make the impact that we think we did? And if we didn't, then how can we change to make it better? Similar to how teachers are being asked to look at data to inform their instruction, we are now being asked to look at data to inform our impact. Are we really making a difference for kids? Because we should be, and if we're not, then what do we need to do differently? As far as informing the parents about what we're doing, one of the things school counselors have done historically is step behind the scenes and help to support what has to be supported, help the children, help the school manage and facilitate, but do it in the background. What we're asking counselors to do now is be more part of the mainstream, and maybe mainstream's not the correct word, but being out there and being proactive and letting people know what they do. So if in fact in your survey parents were saying that they had an issue with the counseling program or didn't know enough about the counseling program, it's probably because they really didn't know exactly what was going on. One of the things we talked about in this last workshop was, how can you promote the work that you do? And what are some of the ways? And there are a lot of different ways that are happening. And this is not just for your counselors in DoDEA, it's everyone. It is a change of focus. So counselors are becoming more proactive in collecting data and then presenting it in some type of report. I recommend that they do it in some type of a report that they can give out that people can see, or in a PowerPoint presentation to faculty and school boards, or however you want to do it. But advertise the good work you do. And one of the things, a simple thing, is to just develop a little brochure that says, this is what the school counseling program does. School counseling is part of the educational program. So we're really teaching students what they need to know and be able to do in order to be successful in school and later in life. We're helping them to learn how to plan so they can start to look at what they want to do when they leave school. At some point, they're going to leave school to either enter the workforce or the military or go into post-secondary education, but we need to help them know how to plan for that and how that connects with the work that they do in school. And for the other personal, social, or social-emotional issues, teach them how to cope and manage their way with that.
Well, thanks, and we appreciate your expertise in that because it is an important issue for our not only our councils but for our customers as well, our parents as well. I want to talk a little bit about parents. How important is it to groom a good relationship with parents from the counselor's side?
It's essential, and parents are the first teachers of their children. Parents obviously play a very important role, and school counselors need to reach out to them, and very often they do. Sometimes people are better at reaching out than others, and sometimes people realize that they have to do a better job of that. But if a parent is watching this show and is wondering how to get to know that, pick up the phone and call them and ask for an appointment. It's definitely goes both ways, and I think that parents could initiate that relationship if the counselor has not. And I know that I don't know a counselor who wouldn't welcome that. Everyone wants to be able to support the child, and they know that the child's parents really want that as well.
Absolutely, and we always recommend to our parents when they come to us for the first time, when they make that first visit to the school, to make the counselor's office one of the stops that they make to introduce themselves.
Well, that's a wonderful thing to do, and it will work for the child's benefit, certainly.
Well, Dr. Nailor, we greatly appreciate the expertise that you've shared with our counselors as you've worked with them around the globe, and certainly for your time today here in the chat room to share with parents and counselors your thoughts on this important subject.
I'm happy to do it. I love to talk about counseling.
Well, thanks very much.
You're very welcome.
For more information about our guidance and counseling programs, go to our website. Thank you for joining us in this edition of The Chat Room.